What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode. I am here all by my lonesome again. Yay for all of us. And there's been a ton of shit going on. Sorry we had to skip last week, but we're back now. Packed episode. Uh, First thing that's been going on is Iran's in full-on revolution. I don't think we've talked about it on this show yet. The regime there has admitted to killing protesters. The amount of protesters, we're not really sure. Could be anywhere from hundreds to thousands. People have been claiming over 12,000 protesters have been killed. Maybe that's accurate. The regime's admitted to killing a bunch of them, but it's hard to say right now how many they're killing. And this has been a flashpoint. We talk about the kind of civil war going on the right wing right now. Iran's a huge flashpoint, okay? Because you have the non-interventionist right saying, hey, we shouldn't have anything to do with what's going on over in Iran. Then you've got the neocon right saying, hey, now's the perfect time to topple the regime. They're weak. We should go in, topple the mullahs, okay? And I hate being one of those people that's like, we should just play it right down the center. You're both partially right. All this, you guys know I hate this stuff. But in the case of Iran, that's true. Okay. I'm sick of hearing people on the non-interventionist right downplaying the struggle of the Iranian people against their government, because what I'm hearing from libertarians is that, the numbers of Iranians, killed is inflated. The regime hasn't really killed that many. Of course, governments kill people that are trying to topple them. That's what we should expect. This isn't a reason for the United States to get involved, all that, the standard stuff. And I hate hearing people downplay the struggle for freedom when it comes from another country, because there were other countries that helped us when we were revolting against Great Britain. They did it a lot of times for their own interest too. France didn't just help us because, they were great people and had all sorts of sunshine and happiness in their hearts. They did it because they hated the British, just like how we hate the Iranian regime, okay? So I don't want us to play into this thing where we're just like, oh yeah, fuck those people. They should be enslaved by their government, live under Sharia law. Their women should be able to, go to school, and they should, be ridiculously oppressed, which the people of Iran are. And then on top of it, the United States had a lot to do with why the mullahs are in power right now, because they used to have a democracy until we toppled it and instituted a monarchy, which then was unstable and collapsed and fell into the regime they have now. So I really hate hearing people downplay what's going on there and what the people there are fighting for, because Iran's a little bit different country in the Middle East, man. They're not, the people there, the actual Iranian people, like there's 90 million of them. They are not extreme Islamists, okay? Their leaders are, their government is, but the people there are not, especially not the young people, okay? They have not always lived under a extreme Muslim regime. Again, they used to have a flourishing democracy. You can go online and see all sorts of pictures of Iranians in the 70s. They dress like Westerners. They look like Westerners. Okay? They were not always like this. And a lot of it's in living memory, okay, that before Khomeini became the supreme leader there. So people, want to get back to, they want to get back to liberalism. But we can't be full on Lindsey Grahams either, because there are a whole bunch of people in the deep state that want to go over and topple Iran for a ton of different reasons. They all have their own reasons. Israel wants to topple them because they're the number one enemy of the Jewish state in the Middle East, obviously. Iran said they're committed to destroying Israel. They're committed to destroying the U.S., all that kind of stuff. So it's been Israel's wanted to topple the Iranian regime for decades, a really long time. And the U.S., we had some diplomats that said that we wanted to help them. That's the whole, 7 countries in 10 years memo, all that kind of good stuff that we've talked about on this show a lot, where the neocons said, hey, we should topple all these different countries, and then that will stop pressure from being put on Israel, recognizing the Palestinian state, and will give the U.S. more influence over the Middle East. But again, okay, it sounds nice, like, yeah, these protesters, they're really rallying against the regime. We should just go in and kill the supreme leader, and then everything will be fine. We got to resist that shit, because what you're going to end up with is a military with no leadership, a bunch of really well-armed and well-trained young men who some are extreme Islamists, some aren't. And what's going to happen is if the U.S. and Israel just go in there and decapitate the government, there's going to be civil war. And again, 90 million people live in this country. It is a big country, 3 times the size of Iraq. So it's not so obvious that if we just go in there and kill the leaders, that this place is going to just snap into being a flourishing democracy, and then everything will be dandy, because it's not. A lot of people are going to die. That doesn't mean we should root against them achieving their own freedom. So here's what I'm saying here. The Western conservative thought here is we are not completely isolationists, okay? But we do favor this no to low intervention strategies where it's possible, okay? So what I'm saying is the U.S. should not outright attack the Iranian. Might rally around the flag and decide, you know what? We hate the regime, we hate the government, but we hate foreigners from thousands of miles away attacking our country even more. And so you know what? We'll deal with our government later. Okay, but right now we're going to back up the military and we're going to fight off these, Western imperialists in their mind. Because there's this psychological phenomenon where people could, and it's called the rally around the flag effect. People may hate their government, okay, but they hate foreign intervention even more. That is, foreigners coming into their country and killing their fellow citizens. So here's what the U.S. should do instead, okay? We should give covert support to the people of Iran. Okay, how the CIA has sources there where they can, help the people fight the regime. Great. Okay, fantastic. Go in there, do what you got to do. Should we openly assassinate leaders in the government? No, of course not. Okay, because again, enabling the young Iranians, okay, to fight back against their government, that's a good thing. Because if the Iranians feel that this whole revolution is organic, okay, it's a lot more likely to be successful. We don't want this to seem like it's astroturfed Israeli plot to overthrow Khomeini. Because people don't like that. People don't want foreigners meddling in their country. So I think 2 things, again, true at the same time. We can root for the people of Iran to obtain their freedom, to overthrow their government, as they should, because it's an oppressive authoritarian regime. And at the same time, we don't need to go getting mixed up in all this in the way that we did in Iraq and in Afghanistan, where it ends up costing us trillions of dollars, thousands of soldiers, and more than it ever should have in many, many different ways. That doesn't even count the mental toll it took on our soldiers, all the horrible things that happened in the Middle East. Okay, we can avoid all that and still try and give support to the people there in Iran. So it's a tricky situation. And again, I hate being the middle of the road guy, because that's not me, but that's how I feel. And here's another interesting part of the Iranian situation here. So the regime, again, authoritarian, has completely shut down the internet there. And they do that to make it harder for protesters and revolutionaries to communicate with each other. So we don't have a ton of great video coming out. That's why I'm telling you the amount of casualties are somewhere, from the hundreds into the potentially over 10,000. And Also, there's a lot of reports of Iranian Revolutionary Guard soldiers being killed, like hundreds of them being ambushed. There was a story all over Twitter about some local Sharia prosecutor that was, oppressing the local people. They like trapped him in his house and burned him to death. All sorts of crazy shit going on there. But again, we're not getting a lot of reliable information because they've shut down the internet. So what Elon Musk did, like the great man he is, the friend of the show, we love Elon Musk, he's enabled Starlink for free there. But it hasn't helped as much as we would have liked it to, because you needed to have the receivers on the ground already, which a lot of the Iranians didn't have. So it's hard for Elon to get in there and get them the receivers after they've already shut down the internet, because obviously the government doesn't want them to have those things. So that's why we don't have a ton of great information going on there. I wish the whole foreign policy stuff was easier, guys. I do, but that's my position on it. Let's root for him, but let's not get knee deep in all this. So moving on to our next thing. I have a heading here as just what the fuck. Into it a little bit. Maybe you guys have seen this. This here's Jonathan Greenblatt, the Anti-Defamation League CEO, which is this nonprofit that essentially pushes for, there are a lot of different descriptions of it, but let's just say they fight what they perceive to be anti-Semitism here in America. They also hate free speech, as you'll see here, and don't care about anyone's privacy because they're fucking evil. But here we go. You can listen to it for yourself.
Measure and track. Number 2, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full-time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games, cryptocurrency, podcasts, short-form video, Wikipedia, LLMs. We monitor these people, and we share the intelligence with the FBI.
So hold on. We're going to pause it right there, first of all. I don't know if this guy knows he's being filmed or that he looks like Dr. Evil, he acts like Dr. Evil. I don't know what the fuck is up with this guy, but we're only 20-something seconds in here, and he's admitted as a nonprofit. Again, he doesn't work for the government. He works for a Jewish nonprofit that he has analysts working 7 days a week, around the clock, monitoring video games, okay? Monitoring cryptocurrencies, monitoring LLMs, which are large language models, things like ChatGPT, looking for extremism. How the fuck is he able to monitor video games? So like if you're on Xbox talking shit, this guy's listening to you. So that's creepy as fuck, number one. Okay. Number 2, if I had listened to this, all right, just right here, okay? Or let's say I hadn't listened to this. You hadn't seen this video, and I just went out there and tweeted, that there are these Jewish organizations that spy on you and your video games and ChatGPT, trying to see if you are uttering anything they consider to be anti-Semitic. I would be blasted up and down as spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, right? But here this guy is just openly admitting it out in the open. Let's keep listening.
You saw last month, you heard about the thing that happened at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Our analysts investigated what happened. They said they were Koreatown for Palestine, this group of people. They weren't. We were able to ascertain they were from a group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Turtle Island is how left-wing activists refer to the United States. They don't call it America, they call it Turtle Island, like the Iranians call it the Zionist entity, right? They only call it by its name. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, we gave them a whole dossier. What is Turtle Island Liberation Front? What are their ideas, their goals? Who are they? We identified the people who were in the synagogue. This was on Wednesday, December the 10th. On Monday, December the 15th, this is going to ring a bell. Kash Patel announced they cracked a terror ring where they arrested 4 people who were planning New Year's Eve bombings. Turtle Island Liberation Front. At least one of the people I know for certain vandalizing it and disrupting the event. So we're monitoring left-wing radicals like the DSA and the anti-war crazies and the pro-Palestine crazies. We're monitoring.
All right, so they're monitoring the anti-war crazies. Imagine that. If you're anti-war, you're some kind of fucking crazy person who has to be spied on while you play Xbox. So just in case anyone was worried, let's shut down these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories right now. There aren't Jews sitting around listening to you on PlayStation. No one's sitting around watching cryptocurrencies, hunting down anti-Semitism, quote unquote. And nobody's scanning your chat GPT conversations to make sure you're not saying anything naughty. And to imply that Jews would do that is an anti-Semitic trope. Oh, wait. This guy has admitted all of it, of course. I don't know what the fuck these people think. If you wanted to try and stir up anti-Semitism, okay, this is the guy you would send out there. This is the guy, if people who really did hate Jews, okay, could come up with this stereotype of the creepy non-profit dark money organization spying on you with this Dr. Evil comic book leader at the helm of it, just the worst stereotype you could imagine. This would be it. This guy is he's actually the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. And just think about how fucking anti-American this shit is, dude. How, Americans, we love our privacy, we love our free speech, right? How could the ADL even claim to stand for either one of those things? They spy on you to make sure these people, man, why do these people have access to any of that shit? And this guy said before, he works with YouTube, with Google, with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Chat GPT, all of them. And they give this fucking creep access so he can spy on you. Any companies that work with the ADL, nobody should use them. Nobody should be using any of this shit. I know that makes it impossible to live your life, but what the fuck? We've got to demand better from people who use, and hope he says he works with the new Twitter regime. I hope that's not true. I hope Elon doesn't let this guy anywhere near our data, because this guy's a fucking creep.
Right-wing extremists like white supremacists, armed militia groups. We're monitoring political Islamists and Christian nationalists, all of them. And then we train. We're the largest trainer of law enforcement in America, extremism and hate. We train 20,000 officers every year.
Yeah, so there you go. You better not be a Christian nationalist or one of those anti-war crazies. Otherwise, we're going to let Dr. Evil out on you. Fucking insane, man. I can't believe these people admit this shit in public. All the worst conspiracies, man. Like they say, reality is always stranger than fiction. This is it. Fuck this guy. Fuck him. Fuck everyone that works there. Fuck everyone that works with this guy. 40 analysts working full-time 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Monitoring anti-war crazies. How could you know? And if you, heaven forbid, no one that listens to this show I know donates to the ADL, but fuck, if you do or know somebody that does, tell them to knock that shit off. These are the most anti-American people you could imagine. Fucking spy on us, playing Xbox. Jesus. But we got more than just that going. So this all kind of fits together, right? So these leftists, they spy on you, okay? And then the Democrats have been out in the woods, but they can kind of smell this coming back into power thing. And again, he said they're building dossiers, okay, on everybody. So if you're an outspoken right-wing guy, maybe you're against, the wars, maybe you're a nationalist, heaven forbid, you love America or something, they're building dossiers on you. And that's how this next part plays into it. Listen to this woman talking about how they are going to deal with the day after Trump. What the left and the Democratic Party needs to do in order to get their, revenge on the Trump administration and all the right-wingers for daring to win an election.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take, fuck you, Democrats, fuck. The blue tsunami means that Congress, morons surrounding him and alien Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not.
So keep in mind here too, this lady, she is saying they need to haul Elon Musk and Big Balls in. Big Balls being that guy, the kid, he was like 20 something years old, who was a part of Doge. Elon Musk has done two things that really pissed the left off. Okay. Number one, he bought X, Twitter at the time, okay, and made it a free speech platform. And that broke up the free speech, or I should say broke up the censorship monopoly they had. Because before he bought Twitter, the government was censoring, along with these tech companies, that was true, by the way, you were going to get censored. But that regime could only work as everybody was playing ball. If one tech platform deviated, all the people would go there. That would be the new free speech platform, and the others would lose their viewers, okay? So he broke up the monopoly they had. They hate him for that. They came, this close to conquering free speech in America and destroying the First Amendment. Elon Musk single-handedly stopped them, okay? And they hate him for that. That is the biggest thing that they cannot stand, is they were so close to having complete control over discourse in America online. And it blew up in their face, single-handed because of Elon. So they can't stand him for that. They would put him in prison for the rest of his life if they could for that crime, because the socialists have to control everything. They're authoritarians by nature. They have to control free speech. Socialism cannot take root in America while the First Amendment still exists. Okay, that's number one. Number two, for Doge. He gutted USAID, exposed all the criminal rackets going on where nonprofits would get money from the federal government and then just siphon the money right back over to the Democratic Party. He cut that. Go look at their funding numbers right now if you don't believe me. And they hate him for that even more. Now they would give him 2 life sentences if they could. So when you're wondering why this lady is so passionate about what the first person she thinks of dragging in front of a court is Elon Musk and a kid named Big Balls, that's why. Okay. And by the way, this is a Democrat activist. Her name's Jennifer Welch, and it's Jim Acosta. Okay, talking about mass prosecution. So here we go. Let's get back into it here.
I think they commit crimes every day. And like hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
Keep it in mind here. Sorry, I just have to point this out. She hasn't named one fucking crime. She just said, I think they commit crimes every day. What fucking crime, bitch? The Democrats, allowing millions of people to come here when they put their hand on a Bible and swore an oath to protect the Constitution and our laws. Okay, they completely pissed that away by allowing all those people to come here, okay, despite the laws Congress had passed saying, nope, you can't just march across the fucking border. You can't bring 10 million people. You can't bring all these folks in here. We have a process. Nope, they ignored it all. It's fucking treason. 10 million counts of it. Fuck them. And there's been no accountability. They shut down our country over the lie that was COVID, okay? Shut down businesses, trampled all over the First Amendment because of COVID. But they want to bring Elon Musk to trial. What? I want to know what crimes she's talking about.
To be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as shit should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, if we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic Party, but I'm saying this is the way the Democrats should communicate. They should say when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that immunity decision can be overturned, and so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
So there you go. They're going to pack the Supreme Court in order to arrest Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and anyone that dared to look into the deep state and cut their funding off. Crazy-ass journalists, talking. Here's Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the House Democrats. Here we go.
So there's two things to keep in mind here. First of all, there's accountability for the corruption and the chaos that Donald Trump has unleashed on the American people from the very beginning of his presidency on January 20th that should be tied directly to the Supreme Court and the 6 right-wing justices who basically gave Donald Trump, without justification, blanket immunity. And he's been out of control ever since. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, of course, is the fact that there are so many different corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives. So there's two things.
There you go. You got it. Listen to this, what he says again right here. Listen to this again.
Within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. Administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5.
They don't have immunity. The Trump administration officials don't have immunity. So what they're going to do, if you're keeping track so far, they've been keeping dossiers for all your communications. Okay, the ADL has. If you worked for the Trump administration, you do not have accountability. Okay, or you don't have immunity. Sorry. So they're going to charge you if you work for the Trump administration. They are going to dig up some kind of crime. They'll make it up. They don't care. It's what they did to Donald Trump. And then, if the Supreme Court gives them any trouble, they're going to pack the Supreme Court too. That is their game plan for 2026, 2028, and beyond. If they ever get back into power, they are going to pack the Supreme Court. They're going to arrest all their political opponents, and they're going to, because that were BLM was burning shit down in the streets. Okay, they burned Minneapolis to the ground. Okay, all the Kyle Rittenhouse insanity that happened after that, all the people just running across the board, the lying about the inflation back, they can't even name a crime. Because of course they can't, because it's all made up, and they know it. But man, if they ever get power back, and I believe them, if they ever get power back, Donald Trump is going to prison. Okay? Elon Musk might be going to prison. The Doge team going to prison. It's insane. That Keith Ellison, too, I don't have this clip queued up. He's the Attorney General in Minnesota, said there's no statute of limitation for murder. So we might have to wait until 2029 to prosecute the ICE agent that killed Renee Good. That's insane. If I were that guy, I'd probably move out of the country, to be honest with you, before 2020. Guaranteed. He's going to get charged with murder. They're going to drag him and his family through the mud. They're going to bankrupt him. And in the end, he might be found not guilty, but it'll destroy his life anyways. That's their game plan. And they're also, and here's my other prediction. If they take control of the Senate, probably not in 2026, but maybe 2028, they will blow up the filibuster. They're going to turn our country into a place where laws can just radically change from one Congress to the next, and the Senate will no longer be considered the most deliberative body in the world. It's going to be so that's why the left can never take power again, because anyone that's worked for the Trump administration, anyone that said anything naughty on a video game, anyone that's bought a meme coin that again, and I wasn't going to plan because they're tough to verify, but there have been several videos of police officers showing up, I think it was in Florida, just to random people's houses over tweets. That's probably the ADL, man. Remember, they've got their 40 analysts working around the clock. They don't even work for the government. But man, they're going to turn you over to the cops. You say something they don't like, and free speech is gone. So that's what we can expect if the left takes power again. And they will take power. I don't want to say if. They will take power again one day. Republicans aren't going to run the country for the rest of the time. So, sorry. Not a real uplifting episode for a time where we control all the levers of power. But man, the Democrats can smell power again. They're coming back out of the woodwork. And when they say they're coming with a vengeance, they're coming to arrest people, they're coming to weaponize the law, we should believe them, because they will do it. On that note, thanks for listening, everybody.